there's a very, very blurry line, especially the way you just described it, between the CIA and the FBI. Can you explain the differences and the similarities?
They are the most talented intel collectors in the world. And pre 9/11, which was a huge wake-up call for the intelligence community, it was a huge wake-up call for all of us, as American citizens. But we realized that we weren't communicating together or working, kind of dovetailing and collaborating on casework. We were kind of competing. And the result is pretty clear. The result is 9/11. And after that, we became better at collaborating, but more so looking at individuals as opposed to, well, the agency is that way, or the FBI, the Bureau is that way. We became, hey, Jim and Joe are working really well together. They serve for competing agencies, not the truth. And they're able to collaborate with other federal agencies, the IRS, ICE at the time, the newly formed, Department of Homeland Security. So I'd say the blurry line is really simply domestic versus international, and their ability to long-term develop hearts and minds overseas, where we are more responsible for the crime problems in our areas. And you're seeing results now with the inability for local law enforcement, and a lot of times has their hands tied. The Bureau has become an agency of those just trying to get to the top without learning the job. My opinion, but I think there's many that would agree with me. Even current FBI agents would agree. And most of us who are retired can't believe, some of the decisions that are being made or not being made at the top. Mm. And if you think about the political appointments that go hand in hand together with the Bureau is a 10-year appointment, CIA is a 10-year appointment, right? It's supposed to be apolitical, but they're political appointments, and they don't come from within the ranks. I can't remember. The last FBI director that came from the ranks is Louis Freeh, who served in the early to late 90s. The greatest director in the history of the FBI, in my opinion.
Really?
Unbelievable. Just a people person. He was a federal prosecutor. He was an FBI agent before that, and then rose through the ranks as an FBI agent to become the director. Just inspiring. Just by being around the man, you understood that he had your back, but he also understood the way the job was supposed to be done. Mm. He stayed in his lane effectively stayed in his lane.
And I think one of the problems now, correct me if I'm wrong, is it seems like every time there's a new president, there's a new head of the FBI and the CIA.
Very true.
Why does that happen?
Well, I mean, sometimes it's the decision of that director to step down based on, hey, look, I've done my time with. There's very few crossovers from presidencies. You have to go back to Hoover. I think crossed 8 presidents in the beginning. Well, we know his problems, along the way. So laughable, but it was his baby, right? He started it from day one as a 29-year-old man. But I think the issue is a lot of times there's an agenda based on whoever the attorney general or the director of the National Security Agency has in that White House. And they effectively target different areas of the world, or they effectively target different crime problems. And based on that, they bring the person in that they think can best develop those programs. And a lot of times, like I said, it doesn't work out because they're political appointees. They have no back. It takes 2 or 3 years for them to establish themselves among the rank and file. Mm. By the time they do that, they're kind of winding down in a presidency. They've been appointed. So now they have to start thinking about, well, if this guy gets reelected, and it does happen. They do think that way. Look at Jim Comey. The man's a disaster.
Even the presidency is like it's a transient position. It usually is every 4 years as a new president. In the best case scenario, it's 8 years. So it seems like, and then if you're automatically going to tie the head of the CIA and the head of the FBI to the president, that means these people are changing all the time. Meanwhile, you have people, congressmen and senators that can stay in office for forever.
Ever. Yeah.
It seems almost counterintuitive to getting anything done in the country.
It's a great point, and I always look at continuity of operations, right? It's something that's preached in the military. It's even preached nowadays in corporate America, and we don't do a great job. When I say we, I mean the Bureau, and I'm sure the agency has similar concerns, as does probably all other federal law enforcement or federal intelligence organizations. We don't do a great job kind of looking the 1, the 3, the 5, the 10-year plan of a director. We just kind of come in and we react at first. I'm talking from a director's perspective from what I've seen. They react to issues that are being brought up to them through the ranks. And remember, the people who are achieving rank are the people that most likely didn't learn the job, but they've always had the aspiration to go forward, to go up. Right. That's a problem. So the rank and file that's
human nature.
It's human nature. And the Bureau, the rank and file, there's no issue with the rank and file. I mean, onesies and twosies here and there, like every other organization, there's no issue. They're going to do their job. I mean, I always call it the 2/3 rule. I mean, there's going to be two guys or girls that really do the job, and then one guy that's just going to sit around and say, look at my gun and badge. But we accept that. We accept that. That's part of the way it is. My point is, I think there's not enough time placed on this rank and file agent by the director to say, what does that person need? Not all this bureaucracy and trying to please different agendas on the House or on the Hill or in the House, or what the president wants or what the attorney general wants. Let's mold the Bureau into what it's supposed to be. Establish and collect evidence for crimes against the United States of America. That's it. No political agenda. We shouldn't be out there preaching prosecution or preaching non-prosecution as the director of the Bureau, as we saw clearly in the Clinton case, in the Hillary Clinton case.
Right.
The summer of 2015. I mean, Jim Comey, disastrous. And we've never taken a step forward since that. And we can talk about some solutions that I think, of course it's just DiOrio, but I feel strongly about some of these solutions, and who knows? Maybe down the line one day I'll get a chance to put those into play.
Yeah, it seems like there's a conflict between getting results either politically or trying to hit milestones, with whether it be climbing the ranks or budget, getting approved for budgets, similar to how cops have quotas to get tickets. It seems like there's a conflict between actually trying to serve justice and just get results, as if like to service your bottom line rather than to provide justice or to get justice to the people that deserve it.
Yeah, I think you make a great point there. And I think a lot of it has to do with the changing agenda of the Bureau, which is no longer a responsive agenda. It's a reactive agenda. Okay, all of a sudden healthcare is the issue this week or this year. And you're going to get preached at by every FBI supervisor. We need to make some more healthcare cases, regardless of whether or not there's a need. That's the focus of this new attorney general, this new U.S. attorney that just was appointed by the president in the District of New Jersey. Or, hey, you know what? This week it's going to be mortgage fraud. So we got to get cranking on mortgage fraud. Hey, you know what? If we do well on mortgage fraud, there's money that's coming in for new cars and for new travel and to be able to go to seminars. That should not be driving the FBI.